Hi, everyone. Happy summer and welcome back to TC&A's weekly newsletter. Your choice comes to your inbox every Monday. Tess and I are glad to be back. We took July off of the weekly newsletter and our video, and this month we are back. So,
Mhm.
welcome back, Tess.
Yeah, and welcome back to you. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. We've, been working on a lot of things behind the scenes, and we've taken some time for ourselves as well. But in the line of work that we do, we're pretty much always something's always bubbling, up, right? Would you say?
Yeah. Yes. Well, there's always a conversation. As we're listening to clients, that sparks, oh, well, we could provide this or we could do that. And we need to be on vacation at the same time and taking vacation. So it's a blend of all of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. And getting calls weekly from people saying, "Oh, we have a client we want to refer to you," or this
Yes.
needs to talk to you, or this client
Yes.
needs something last minute. So we
Yes.
are doing all of the things, and at the same time, we have a great team, and we are also focusing on who we are being.
Yes,
Really,
absolutely.
this month of August, we've been encouraging our newsletter readers to focus on their leadership well-being and really do a leadership wellness check-in. And how is your leadership health was actually the how we started the
Mhm.
month with
Mhm.
encouraging
Mhm.
people to check in.
Yeah.
Because so often we find that people are wanting to lead with their competence and even their confidence of who they are, and those things are absolutely necessary. At the same time, we really do need to look at our whole selves,
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
just what we're outputting, but who we are, and how we're experiencing our own energy and how are others experiencing our own energy.
Yeah.
How is our mental clarity? That's so key when we have so many things vying for our attention these
Mhm.
days, every single
Mhm.
day. Our emotional intelligence, something that we have an opportunity to practice every single day. Uh,
Yes, we do.
right, in and out of coaching. And
Mhm.
we can always expand in that. And then ultimately being able to not forget that our physical being and the awareness of how our body is feeling also affects our leadership. It affects how we show up.
Yes.
And it is our vitality. We are
Mhm.
not here without our physical human selves.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those are the four facets: energy, mental clarity, emotional intelligence, and physical awareness that we have encouraged people to focus on for this month.
Mhm.
And did you want to add anything there, Tess, to the leadership well-being before I get into a little bit more of the energy piece?
Well, I think it's interesting. There are so many different layers of what we are experiencing as humans in this life, in our family systems, and in the work that we do. And just so our listeners know, we are very, very mindful. There is a lot of complexity in the workplace. There's that we're supporting people in and through. And there's a lot of complexity in some of our clients' lives personally, i.e., people losing parents. That are older, and in that in and of itself, how do you return back to work when you're actually in grief? And so, not that we're going to go into those topics today, but these reminders are such great reminders of taking care of ourselves when the stress is high, conflict is high, life situations are high. We can go back to being responsible for ourselves and stay focused on how to take care of ourselves with these tools and resources.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you mentioned the complexities, because I don't think a day goes by where I'm not connecting with someone that is experiencing something complex. And
Mhm.
if it's not someone else, then I'm experiencing my complexities.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
just
Yeah,
being mindful that when we focus on these four areas, we're not saying that there aren't a lot of challenging things going on, but these things are meant to be tools to support you
absolutely.
in and through those things.
Yes. Well, and to tie into that, we in our communication, we try to keep it very succinct, positive, moving forward, and definitely want our listeners to know that the day in and day out work of what we do is diving deep into all of the complexities. And so part of that strategy is to we don't have control over all of the external things, but what we can control is keeping some things more simple for ourselves, more purposeful for ourselves and for our teams and those we're leading, and more intentional for ourselves and others. So that's part of the reasoning behind all of the communication that we do bring.
Yes, absolutely. And the simplifying is so important.
Yeah.
And I've been working with these four areas forever. It feels like really
Mhm.
more in the last year, evolving them, writing about them, researching them. And I wanted to provide something that could help simplify the leadership well-being. And of course, we've
Mhm.
collaborated on all of this together to lead with the energetic well-being. And what does that mean? Learning to manage and optimize your energy ultimately is a game changer.
Mhm.
A great starting place is the Myers-Briggs type assessment. There you will learn how you gain your energy, whether you're more extroverted, gaining energy from the world around you and others, or more introverted, who prefer more of the one-on-one time, the intimacy or small groups to regain their energy, even being alone. Our introverts out there will definitely resonate. Yes, I need my alone time.
Yes, yes, yes.
So that's a starting place that we use with our clients to really understand more about their energy because ultimately everybody feels energy, but they don't always necessarily attach it to what they're doing uh,
Right.
at work. And ultimately, your energy speaks louder than what you're putting, what you're even doing sometimes. And so, knowing how we gain our energy, knowing that our energy is there for us to work for us and to work in our benefit is how we help our clients with focusing on that for sure.
Absolutely. And I'll just add, I remember the days where I didn't pay attention to my energy and I just pushed myself beyond my limits. And, I had 24 hours a day. And if I slept 5 or 6 hours of the night, the rest of the hours were jam-packed with activity and work, right? And I realized that ultimately that just was not going to serve my mind, body, health well. And I did ultimately burn out. So from that point on, really starting to pay attention. And it's been a lifelong journey because I still like to stay active and involved in things. But
True.
it's really understanding what do I have energy for, what is deserving of my energy, who's deserving of my energy, and then cultivating when I know that there's a high energy day, what do I do the day before, the night before to prepare my energy for the day to come? And that's been, like you said, a game changer of being mindful of my energy. So I can show up with my best full energy that is going to be supportive of my well-being and also supportive of others.
Yes. Yeah, the preparation there is key as I'm listening to you because a lot of the times we just go into things without thinking about it because we have so much on our plates. And the more intentional, going back to what you said earlier too, the intentionality is
Yeah.
really key. And that can take us to the second facet here with the mental clarity, where that really is able to help us create more freedom with the clear thinking and having a strategy for how we want to approach everything in work and in life. So, can you speak to the mental clarity piece of leadership well-being as well?
I can. And the first thing that comes to mind, and it is a practice, and it is the box breathing. Um,
Hmm.
no one gets a medal for stress. No
We need
one
to let
gets,
people know that.
yeah, no one gets a trophy for being so busy, right? And yet in the workplace, oh, if you're really stressed or really busy, you can be noticed for the best team player. And I won't go off on a side on that, but I will just say I think we need to be mindfully aware of our own mental clarity because I'm not sure stress and being busy bring mental clarity. I think being able to do the box breathing, breathing in for 4 breaths, holding it for 4 breaths, exhaling it, your breath, and then just pausing for 4 seconds in that moment. It just calms your energy, it calms your nervous system, it calms your mind, and that actually helps me to think more clearly. I remember many times that I would get so frustrated with something because I couldn't figure it out immediately. Well, I was so stressed and pushing and trying and working hard on something that all I needed to do was really step away,
Yeah.
take a breath, be mindfully aware of just letting my whole system relax and get into its own breathing rhythm. And it would be amazing how, oh, I would think of how to solve a problem more clearly, right?
Absolutely. It
So,
goes back to that simplifying again. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
And
I love
I then,
it.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say it does create that mental freedom. Yeah.
Simplify. So simplify for the mental clarity.
Mhm.
The bottom.
Yes, yes,
And
yeah.
that leads us to, even emotional intelligence, because with our mental clarity, then we can have a greater capacity for our emotions and ability for ourselves to reflect on what are we holding that's no longer ours? What do we need to release? What stories are we telling ourselves? Are those stories true? Those
Mhm.
are all important questions in your emotional intelligence journey. And as you know, we have assessments for emotional intelligence, we have seminars for this as well. But can you talk a little bit about how important the emotional intelligence is within, leadership well-being?
Mhm. I think the first thing that comes to mind is not everything is about us. And if we can remember that when someone is responding negatively, is that really about us? When someone's having a hard day, is that really about us? Sometimes we take on those emotions when they're really not ours to take on.
Yeah.
And so just being mindfully aware of, and this is what self-awareness does, it understands our own responsibility to ourselves to be emotionally responsible.
Mm,
And when we're emotionally responsible within us, knowing what our triggers are, knowing what our challenges are, knowing ourselves so well that we can actually then start making decisions. How do I want to respond?
yeah.
Then we become more, again, more purposeful with our responsibility of knowing who we are. We can trust who we are, and we can lead and manage our own behaviors and actions in a more healthy way. Sometimes it's more positive, sometimes it's more deliberate, sometimes it is being factual and detailed, logical, analytical, all of those things. But the intentionality with best intentions really starts to be at the forefront when we are using emotional intelligence.
Yeah. Makes me want to take a deep breath just thinking.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be complex. I've said all morning long, I've said, trust yourself first. If we trust ourselves first, that we're doing the hard work, we're internalizing, we're knowing ourselves, we're trusting our intuition, trusting our instincts, trusting our gut, trusting what is true, what our character is, trusting who we are. We don't have to make it very complicated.
Yeah. And we typically do. I mean, there's a theme here with the simplicity, right?
Mhm.
Understanding how you manage your energy, being able to slow down, take some deep breaths, and even step back and pause so that you have more mental clarity. And then tuning into your emotional capacity and really, kind of getting ahead of the emotions too, right? Of how can I lead them and, even be prepared. You mentioned prepared at the beginning. And I was talking to somebody yesterday about and just kept asking this question. It was an emotional conversation, and they were telling themselves a bunch of stories
Hmm.
that are old stories, and
Hmm.
they've repeated them in coaching for a while now. And so I just asked, I said, is that story true? Is the story
Hmm.
you're telling yourself true?
Hmm.
And if you can't know 100% that that story is true, it's time to drop the story.
Yes, yes, yes.
And, it was powerful for that person, well, I'm not sure if it's true. Well, great. If you're not sure if it's true, then time to move on. We only need to keep true stories,
Right,
right?
right. Yeah, hold on to the true stories, not the false ones.
Phrase. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that, the four questions from Byron Katie.
Hmm. Hmm.
We don't always use her whole format, but we often use some of those questions, and they're really helpful in the coaching process to just bring you back to the reality of what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And our physical body does a really good job of bringing us into the reality as well. We can be all over here with our energy and
Hmm.
creating things and managing our emotions, and then our body can pull us right back to the moment and say, well, are you also paying attention here? And
Hmm.
are you paying attention here and here and here?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what I find in my body.
And mine as well. The physical aspects of paying attention to your body are so key. And I have a different story than Chelsea. I was a singer growing up, always involved in music, and um it was my passion. And Chelsea was an athlete. So from a very young age, probably what, 4 or 5 years old, you were zeroed in on being part of the gymnastics team. And so I was late to the game when it came to really paying attention to my physical well-being. I do pay attention to it. I'm enjoying it. I have found what I love. And that has really made a big impact in my life, where I don't mind getting up early. I don't mind getting on my treadmill. I don't mind going to all these different places in the world and walking and starting to run, all of these different things, and also learning something in the process. So I found my son Justin always said, "Mom, you just have to find what you love." And I found it. And that has really been a key physical component for me, finding what you really love. When it comes to moving your body. And so just constantly being aware of movement, certainly where we are in our family life with grandchildren, three little kids, 5, 4, and 2.5. There's a lot of physical movement in our lives, which is fun and great, and it brings a lot of health and vitality as well. So the physical piece is very important to pay attention to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Max and I, often joke that we don't always know what we're training for, but we know we're going to be ready. We're staying ready. And
Staying ready, exactly.
even just, a Saturday afternoon with the two boys needs that
Mhm.
physical awareness. And
Yes.
tying it into the workplace as well, our body is telling us when we're stressed. Our body
Yeah.
is telling us when something doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
Our body tells us how we're making decisions, and how we're feeling. So the more that you can tune in to what your body is telling you, the more that you get the answers that you need to guide you and support you on your path. Um, and when we're committed to paying attention and exercising our body, whatever that looks like, me and Tess have different approaches, and it's all good.
Yes, we do.
But consistency matters, and
Uh-huh.
doing something that you enjoy matters too. Sometimes it isn't always the most enjoyable, right? Some days it's like I'm just gonna do it to say that to show myself that I'm doing it,
Yes,
that I'm
yes,
showing up for myself. But
yes.
I would agree with you. Most of the time, like I'm energized to be able to go and move my body, and I'm just so grateful to have the opportunity every day to move like I do, even after everything that my body has sustained over the years.
Exactly. Yes, yes, absolutely. And to your point about holding stress, there are so many layers of stress that people hold on to, and we can hold on to it as well. We have to be mindful of that also. But really, I think one of the key components is paying attention. When our body is feeling stress, it's not time to ignore. It's time to pay attention.
There's always a story behind whatever the body is saying. I've
Yeah.
definitely learned that
Yeah.
my almost 40 years.
Uh,
Well, thank you for being here today with us, everyone. We encourage you to check in with your leadership health and your leadership well-being, your energy, mental clarity, emotional intelligence, and physical awareness. This is all on our blog, on our website. It's in our newsletter as well. All month we're focusing on this. There's some assessments, some quotes, some different ways to support you as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
Um,
And that's our whole desire. We are here to support you, support the leader person you want to be. And these tools and resources are free and there for you to utilize.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Tess, and we will see you guys next month.
Thank you.